Welcome to the first look at the opening lines from Week 13 of NFL action here at FTN Bets, sponsored by Bets TV and available on the Game Plus network. The first game we're going to look at here is the Thursday night game between the Dallas Cowboys and the New Orleans Saints. Dallas is 7-4 on the year, 8-3 against the spread, 6-5 to the over, and coming off a loss to the Las Vegas Raiders, 36-33 on Thanksgiving. New Orleans also played on Thanksgiving. They're 5-6 on the year, 5-6 against the spread, 6-5 to the over, and coming off a loss to the Buffalo Bills, 31-6 in the nightcap. When I run numbers on this game, I get the Dallas Cowboys should be favored by about 2.5 points here. So I'm kind of bearish on this number. But I do want to make one caveat here. Is I ran these numbers assuming that Alvin Kamara and or Mark Ingram are going to wind up playing this weekend for the New Orleans Saints. If that is the case, I do think that 6 is too many points, and I would be on the Saints side of this game. If both of those guys happen to be out again, I think all bets are off here because without their running game and with Jameis Winston hurt, this is not a team that's going to be able to put up a lot of points overall. So if those guys do not play here, then I don't think that this is too many points. But if Alvin Kamara and Mark Ingram are going to play, the Saints can run their ball control offense, let their defense take care of business. The Saints +6 would be the side of this game I want to be on. So definitely keep a lookout and see what happens with the injury information for this game, because that would definitely change the way I'm looking at it. So now let's move on and talk about the Sunday games. The first one I want to talk about here is the New York Giants against the Miami Dolphins. The Giants are 4-7 on the year, 6-5 against the spread, 3-7-1 to the over, and coming off a big win this weekend against divisional rival Philadelphia Eagles, 13-7. Miami is 5-7. 6-5-1 against the spread, 5-7 to the over, and coming off a big win against the Carolina Panthers, 33-10. When I run the numbers on this game, I get the Dolphins should be favored by 2.5 points. So I don't really have a bet on this game. I'm kind of on market. I'm right at where BetMGM is here. It is juiced up a little bit on that -2.5 at BetMGM at -115. You know, you look over at DraftKings, you got the full -3 right there. I think this is kind of interesting because DraftKings has a full -3. BetMGM has -2.5 at -115, meaning that they're trying to almost entice you to take it at that 2.5 because it is more likely to get up to that -3 number that it's going to have. So if you were interested in taking the Dolphins, I think you got to go do it now. Take the -2.5 on BetMGM, pay the extra 5 basis points. That's probably the way to go about doing it. By the end of the week, I do think you're going to get a full field goal here. So like I said, if you want the better number on the Dolphins, you probably got to go take it now. The next game we're going to talk about, the Indianapolis Colts going up against the Houston Texans. Indianapolis is 6-6 on the year, 7-5 against the spread, 8-4 to the over, and coming off a loss to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, 38-31. Houston is 2-9 on the year, 5-6 against the spread, 4-7 to the over, and coming off a loss to my New York Jets, 21-14 on Sunday. When I run numbers on this game, I get Indianapolis should be favored by 8.5 points. So I am bullish on this game, but I don't really want to play it straight up. I don't like being on the wrong side of the hook with the 7 there, although I do think Indianapolis could cover this game easily and run away. My favorite thing to do with this game is actually teasing it, because right now you can tease this 7.5 all the way down to 1.5. You get through the key number of 7, the key number of 3. You know, that would probably be the best way to do this right now as part of a teaser. Like I said, I don't like being on the wrong side of that touchdown, although obviously the Colts do have the firepower to go out there and just blow the Texans off the field in this game. With that being said, my favorite way to play it is the teaser. The next game we can talk about is the Minnesota Vikings taking on the Detroit Lions. Minnesota is 5-6 on the year, 6-5 against the spread, 6-5 to the over, coming off a loss to the San Francisco 49ers, 34-26. Detroit is 0-10-1 on the year, but they are 7-4 against the spread, 3-8 to the over, and coming off a loss to the Chicago Bears, 16-14. When I run numbers on this game, I'm getting Minnesota -7.5. So I'm slightly bullish on this one. Just like we talked about in the last game, I think this is an excellent teaser piece. You could tease the Vikings down to -1 on DraftKings or tease them down to -0.5 on BetMGM here. That's probably the best way to do this. You know, there's not a lot of value. My number's 7.5. The numbers that the books are offering are 6.5, 7. So we're kind of on the market here. It's not like there's a massive edge or a massive difference there. But like I said, I do think this is a good teaser piece. You tease this down, you can take Vikings -1. You can take Indianapolis -1.5. DraftKings, if you tease the two of them together, 6-point teaser, -120. That's the way that I'm going to be looking at these two games. The next game we can talk about, the Philadelphia Eagles coming to the Meadowlands to take on the New York Jets. Philly is 5-7 on the year, 6-6 against the spread, 6-6 to the over, coming off a loss to the New York Giants, 13-7. The Jets are 3-8 on the year, 3-8 against the spread, 6-5 to the over, coming off a win against the Houston Texans, 21-14. My number on this game is the New York Jets. I'm sorry, the Philadelphia. You know what? I'm a Jets fan, so apologize there. My number on this game is -6.5 on the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'm pretty much on market right here. If anything, I would think this number is a little bit too rich at -7. So I have no bet on this game. Like I said, I'm pretty much on market. Next game, we can talk about the Arizona Cardinals taking on the Chicago Bears. Arizona is 9-2, 8-3 against the spread, 5-6 to the over, and coming off a bye. So we do have to factor in a little bit of extra rest for them here. It does look like Kyler Murray is going to be available to play, and I ran my numbers with Kyler Murray in on this game. If Kyler doesn't play, then obviously that's going to change some things, but as of now, I'm looking at it as Kyler Murray is going to play, and that's why the number is where it is. For the Chicago side, 4-7 on the year, 4-7 against the spread, 3-8 to the over, and coming off a win against the Detroit Lions, 16-14 in a game where they didn't cover by half a point. So I am actually bearish on this number, though. Even with Kyler Murray playing, I have Arizona should be favored by 5 in this game. So I'm looking at this as just a little bit too rich here. You know, you look at the numbers down here, the 7.5 on DraftKings is the number that I'm the most interested in. Because like I said, I have this game at -5. So not only are we getting the protection of the 7 here, you know, if it does end up as the Cardinals winning by a touchdown, getting the 7.5 on DraftKings would actually get you a win here, as opposed to the 7 over on BetMGM, where, you know, they did juice it down a little bit to -105. I don't mind paying the extra 10 basis points to get the hook here on the 7. So DraftKings plus 7.5 on the Bears, the way I'm going. I am bearish on the Arizona Cardinals as a 7.5 point favorite here. Next up, we have the Los Angeles Chargers taking on the Cincinnati Bengals. The Chargers are 6-5 on the year, 5-6 against the spread, 4-7 to the over, and coming off a loss to the Denver Broncos, 28-13. Cincinnati is 7-4 on the year, 6-5 against the spread, 5-6 to the over, and coming off a win against the Pittsburgh Steelers, actually a beatdown of the Pittsburgh Steelers, 41-10 in that game on Sunday. So the number I get on this game is the Cincinnati Bengals should be favored by 2.5. So I have the exact same number that BetMGM has for this game. They have it juiced up at -115, which means it's more likely to go to 3. You look at DraftKings, they have it at -3, but they have it juiced down at -105. So really what this is kind of telling us is that the spread on this game should probably be like -2.75. If you're interested in the Bengals side of it, obviously you want to go on BetMGM and get the 2.5, so you have the protection of the 3. If you're interested in the Charger side of it, then you obviously want to take it on DraftKings. This way you get a push if it does end up in a field goal here, with the 3 being a key number. I got to be honest, with my number being 2.5, I'm pretty much on market. I don't see a lot of value on either side of this game, so I'm going to be passing on this one. And this brings us to the last game in the 1 p.m. window here between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay is 8-3 on the year, just 5-6 against the spread, 6-5 to the over, and coming off a win against the Indianapolis Colts, 38-31. The Atlanta Falcons are 5-6 on the year, 5-6 against the spread, 5-6 to the over, and coming off a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars, 21-14. When I run the numbers on this game, I get the Tampa Bay Buccaneers should be favored by 9. So we're pretty much on market here. If anything, these two numbers are both a little bit rich. Very similar situation to the last game we're talking about. DraftKings -9.5, -115 means that it's more likely to go to 10 than it is to go to 9.5. And then you look at BetMGM -10, juice down at -105, meaning they're more likely to go to 9.5 than they are to go to 10.5 here. So the number on this game is probably about 9.75. My number is -9. Not a lot of value here. If you wanted to tease it down, I guess you could, but you're really not getting to where you want to be by teasing it. Yeah, you get it down to 3.5, but I really like teasing when I can get it down below that 3. This way we get that protection, or even if you get it down to 3, so you get the protection of the field goal there. I would still rather be on the Bucs side here, but like I said, I think this number is a little bit too rich, so I have no bet on this game. And that wraps up the games that we have in the 1 o'clock window here. Remember, you can get over to FTN Bets right now. $49.99 is the monthly package cost here. Use promo code Benny. You can get 20% off. We will be right back in a minute here to talk about the 4 o'clock games, the Sunday night game, and the Monday night game here on the opening lines video from FTN Bets. Welcome back to our first look at the Week 13 opening lines here on FTN Bets, sponsored by Bets TV and available on the Game Plus Network. We're going to talk about the 4 o'clock games here. And the first one we're going to look at is the Jacksonville Jaguars against the Los Angeles Rams. Jacksonville is 2-9 on the year, 4-7 against the spread, 2-9 to the over, and coming off a loss to the Atlanta Falcons, 21-14. The Los Angeles Rams are in a tailspin at the moment. 7-4 on the year, 4-7 against the spread, 6-4-1 to the over, and coming off another loss to the Green Bay Packers this time, 36-28. So obviously the Rams should win this game, but when I run numbers on it, I only get Rams should be favored by 11 here. Now, is that enough to push me onto the Jaguar side at plus 13.5? No, I think the Rams are a much, much better team than the Jags on both sides of the ball, and I would not be shocked if they won this game by 2 touchdowns. But I don't think that this is a game that I want to bet on. And I don't even think this is a game that I want to touch with the teasers because, like I said, I think this number is at least 2.5 points too high here. You tease down to 13.5, you only get the 7.5, which is not a key number. You're on the wrong side of the 7 already. Not really anything that I want to go and, kind of mess with here. So do I think the Rams win? Yes. I have zero desire to be on the Jags. I don't even want to be on the Jags at plus 13. But I also don't think that this is a very good game for us to, include in teasers or anything like that. If I was going to tease this game, I would rather tease the Jags up to 19.5 than tease the Rams down to 7.5. The next game up is the Washington football team taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. Washington is 4-6 on the year, 3-7 against the spread, 5-5 to the over. And we don't have their results yet for week 12 because they're the Monday night football game against the Seattle Seahawks. And we do this video on Monday morning before that game is played. Las Vegas is 6-5 on the year, 5-6 against the spread, 6-5 to the over, and coming off a big win against the Dallas Cowboys on Thanksgiving, 36-33, where they do have a little bit of extra rest coming into this game as well, which we had to factor into the number. So when I run the number on this game, I actually get the Las Vegas Raiders should be favored by -2. So I'm pretty much on market here. Las Vegas is a little bit too rich. But with them being under 3 and with, the football team getting 2.5 on both DraftKings and BetMGM right now, I don't really have a bet on this game. I don't want to, I like the Raiders to win. So if you want to, I guess taking the Raiders and laying the 2.5 points is probably the better side. But like I said, I'm kind of on market because my number is -2. So I don't think there's a lot of value here. But I do want to be on the Raiders side because it's not up to the full 3. This way you get the protection of that. If the Raiders win by a field goal, you wind up cashing this bet. Overall, though, I'm on market. No bet on this game for me. The next game we can talk about here is the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Baltimore is 8-3 on the year, 5-6 against the spread, 5-6 to the over, and coming off a 16-10 win against the Cleveland Browns on Sunday Night Football. Pittsburgh is 5-5-1, 4-7 against the spread, 4-6-1 to the over, and coming off a loss to the Cincinnati Bengals, 41-10. Now, we don't have a number for BetMGM on this game yet because, like I said, the Ravens did play the Sunday Night Football game. My guess is that number will be out at some point today and will probably be very similar to the number that we see on DraftKings. DraftKings has -2.5, -120 here, so you may even see BetMGM just open it at a flat -3, which is where I think that, this spread is probably going to pop off when it comes out. For me, the Baltimore Ravens are -2 is the number that I get here. So I'm pretty much on market here. Even if it goes to Steelers +3, I wouldn't want to take that. Ravens -3, I definitely don't want to take that. If you're going to do anything, I'd rather take the Ravens -2.5 over on DraftKings right now. But again, I'm right on market on this game, so I don't have a bet here. This is another one that I'll be passing on this weekend. And that brings us to the last game in the 4 o'clock window, which is the San Francisco 49ers taking on the Seattle Seahawks. San Fran is 6-5 on the year, 5-6 against the spread, 6-5 to the over, and coming off a win against a very good Minnesota Vikings team, 34-26 on Sunday. Seattle is 3-7 on the year, 5-5 against the spread, 1-8-1 to the over there, which is a really bad number. And they are the other team that plays on Monday Night Football against the Washington Redskins. So we'll have to see how that comes out. Obviously, if there are any injury situations that are major, that could be something that drastically affects this number. But we're going to look at the look-ahead line for now because we don't have that information yet. And like I said, if you guys are interested in it, get over to FTN Bets and we'll have any updates that come out throughout the week here. So when I look at this number here, I actually get San Francisco should be favored by -2. So I'm kind of on market here. I kind of agree with the numbers that we're seeing. You got -2.5, -115, -2.5, -115. Those are the two numbers for both of the sites right here. Like I said, with me being at -2 on the market, I think San Francisco wins this game. I don't want to lay -140 on the money line. I think San Francisco is the better team, so I'm not going over to the Seahawks side. I hate to say it here, guys, but I don't have a play on this game as well. This is another one where I'm on market. I think that the odds on this one are pretty sharp. And there you go. That wraps it up for the 4 o'clock games that we have. We have 2 more games to talk about, the Sunday night and Monday night football games. We're going to take a quick commercial break and be right back. Welcome back to the first look at the opening lines for Week 13 here on FTN Bets, sponsored by Bets TV and available on the Game Plus Network. We have 2 more games that we're going to talk about here, and we're going to start with the Sunday night game between the Denver Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Denver is 6-5 on the year, 6-5 against the spread, 2-9 to the over, and coming off a win against the Los Angeles Chargers, 28-13. Kansas City is 7-4 on the year, 4-7 against the spread, 6-4-1 to the over, and they are coming off a bye. So we do have to factor in a little bit of extra rest here for the Kansas City Chiefs in our number. When I run that number and factor it in, I actually get the Chiefs should be favored in this game by 10.5 points. So I do think there is a little bit of value on Kansas City here. Not a ton of value, but again, you're crossing 10, which is a semi-key number. A field goal and a touchdown gets you to 10 there. With the way teams are going for 2 and stuff like that nowadays, it's not as big a number as it used to be, but it is still a number that comes out more often than, say, 9 or 11 do. So, it is still a semi-key number status. I don't really want to tease this game because teasing from 9.5 only gets you down to 3.5. So we're not really crossing those key numbers there. If you're going to play it, I do think you can play it straight up. That's probably the way to play it. Maybe use the Chiefs -450 money line as part of some kind of parlay that you're putting together there. Especially if you're playing on any of these sites that have one of these, parlay protection, risk-free bets, get your money back kind of things. The Chiefs would be a good team to include on something like that. There is a little bit of value there. That number should probably be closer to -500 than -450. But again, it's not a massive amount of value. I don't like the number of 9.5, so I'm kind of staying away from the spread here. So I am bullish on Kansas City, but not super bullish on Kansas City. And that brings us to the Monday Night Football game, which is a very interesting game and one that I'm really looking forward to watching, not only because both of these teams are in the division of my favorite team, but because this should be a really, really good football game here. You got the 2 teams at the top of the AFC East, the New England Patriots traveling to Buffalo to take on the Buffalo Bills. New England is currently the leader in the AFC East at 8-4. They are 8-4 against the spread. They are 6-6 to the over, coming off a beatdown of the Tennessee Titans, 36-13 on Sunday. Buffalo is 7-4 on the year, 6-4-1 against the spread, 5-6 to the over, and coming off a win against the New Orleans Saints, 31-6 on Thanksgiving. So we do have to factor in a little bit of extra rest here for the Buffalo Bills, and that's going to affect the spread just a little bit here. My number on this game is Buffalo -2. So I do actually think there is some value on the New England Patriots. The place I would play them here is on DraftKings because you are getting it juiced up a little bit at -115, but you're also getting the hook on the 3. So you're getting +3.5 here with the New England Patriots. That's probably the way that I would want to play this game. I'm a little bit bearish on the Buffalo Bills. I know that they played very well and beat New Orleans a couple weeks ago. but they also have losses to the Jaguars and the Indianapolis Colts in a couple games that were preceding that right there. People have figured out how to beat Buffalo at the moment because Buffalo doesn't have a run game. What teams have been doing is kind of sitting back into a deep zone and basically saying, we're going to take away your pass and kind of force you to run. And so far, Buffalo has not been able to do it. We'll see if Matt Breida can change that. Matt Breida had basically taken over the reins as the starting running back starting about 2 weeks ago, but last week was really when you saw him be kind of the featured guy there. So maybe he can give that element to the Buffalo Bills. But if he can't, it looks like the blueprint is in there on how teams are going to try to attack this Buffalo offense and, probably even be able to continue to beat this Buffalo team, which looked like it was going to be the class of the AFC a couple weeks ago. But now we're starting to see a couple chinks in the armor there. So I am bearish on the Buffalo Bills at -3.5. I would be looking to take the Patriots at +3.5 over on the DraftKings side if I was interested in putting a bet down on this game. So there you go. That wraps it up for the first look at the opening line for Week 13 of NFL action here on FTN Bets. Remember, FTN Bets right now, monthly package is down to $49.99. Use promo code Benny. You can save 20% off on top of that. You get all our expert picks, all the analysis, all the stats, all the charts, everything that we have and offer available, not just for NFL action, also for NBA, sports like MMA and tennis as well. We cover the entire gamut over at FTN Bets, so make sure you get over there and check it all out. This is Benny Ricciardi with FTN Bets signing off for our first look at the opening line. Good luck, everybody.